So, my video recording for the article that I read. The article I read basically discussed the generalization of behavior into different settings. So, it was the generalization of behavior of a child who has oppositional behaviors um, from the house setting to the school setting and vice versa, and to see if there was anything in particular that causes these oppositional behaviors. So diving into this article, basically, a 9-year-old boy named Harry was referred by his mother. His mother was asked by the clinic to participate in this research, and the mother agreed. No true defining of how participants were picked. It was one participant, and it said that it was going to be observations in the classroom and then parent training. Dependent variable, no true definition. No true specific place in there, but from my understanding of reading it was that the dependent variable was Harry's behavior and his manipulation in the different places. Other than that, again, my article did not have anything. The article stated these things, like the IOA percentage, but there was no data to prove it. And there was also no data at all in there besides a graph. And the graph was very, very hard to read. Again, independent variable. My independent variable was not defined. But my independent variable was the mother and the teacher's responses and attention given when Harry has specific behaviors. So example would be timeout. If Harry had a behavior, he'd be sent to timeout. Again, no data to support anything. The procedures. Baseline was a week. Lasted for 60 minutes. Home, he was supposed to stay inside and no contact with anything. School, teacher discussed classes. Procedural characteristics and baseline. The article described the setup and what was going to be observed. So it did describe that. Design, it seemed very well designed, but nothing really pertaining to it. It just kind of glanced over everything. So, like, they were looking for the interactions of the teachers and then Harry's oppositional behaviors. And the observers would evaluate the mother and teacher's social interactions with Harry to see if they would give him more attention or less attention when he would do certain things. And it was all visual that they did. Now, results. So, results basically from reading over this article, what I read was the results of this was that Harry had inappropriate responses when his mother, or more behaviors when his mother would show inappropriate attention to him in the classroom setting. They didn't really dive too deep into what would happen at home from if classroom teacher had inappropriate responses. It dealt mostly with mother having inappropriate responses to things that he would do. So, 3, functional control, from what I understanding would be like, they would predict that parent training was going to decrease his behaviors in the intervention process. They were able to replicate it because when they went back to look at it, she stopped using the parent intervention training and his behaviors actually decreased again. So it proved that it worked. Hugely important because Harry needs to learn how to deal with behaviors as he's going through the world. So this is a really good article to talk about how important it is for him to learn about his manipulating behaviors. Basically, my critiques were, the article seemed well written, however, there was no data. The graph was extremely bad. Like, I could not understand what the graph was saying. There was nothing that we learned about from last week specifically pertaining to this graph in there. No description, no nothing. And at the very end, they said that it raised more questions than answers. So I'm really interested to see if we could do more studies on oppositional behaviors, or ODD, which is what we call them, to see exactly what causes it and how to change it.